Recently, Rollo Tomassi put up a tweet about the fastest, quickest way to become a high-value man. And one of the things on the list was to get a vasectomy in your 20s. That then created him getting roasted by everybody from Ben Shapiro to Matt Walsh. And of course, Sneako and Destiny got in on the action, which led Rollo to call in to the Fresh&Fit podcast when Destiny and Sneako was on there. And we're going to look at that in all of its glory and analyze the situation. So before we get into that, I got to give you guys a forewarning.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Explicit.
So Monday, you guys were talking to Brandon Carter. One of the things that Brandon was talking about was you got to love money. You got to be on top of your game. And I love Brandon Carter, by the way. I think he should be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy is that funny. He's a great guy, right? But when you guys are on that show and you're talking to him, and he's talking about how he doesn't go to Publix, doesn't go grocery shopping for himself. He doesn't go do his own laundry. He doesn't have a car. I mean, it's Brickle.
This is going to be. Yeah, this is going to be long.
But he doesn't have like some basic stuff because his philosophy in life is that anything that takes him away from his grind, anything that takes him away from anything that would distract him or that would be financially or mathematically not a pragmatic choice for him to make, as far as like if he's spending time going grocery shopping or going and getting food for himself or whatever else. I'm sure he's like into meal prep and everything else. But pretty much everything in his life is outsourced, because anything that he would be spending that time himself to go do, he could be losing money doing that at that time.
Here's the frustrating thing about this entire community is that they'll take something sensible like this. Hey man, you should count what your time is, right? First of all, this is on the presupposition that one needs to love money instead of loving the reality of some of the luxury that money can bring and some of the flexibility that money can bring. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to table that for a second. But it'll take something practical like, hey, it may not be advantageous for you to go and do all your shopping and all your cooking if you get paid this in the marketplace and your side hustle generates you this. Maybe you should meal prep. Maybe you should hire a meal prep company for you that does that for a living to make your process more efficient. This is why most of us don't change our own oil, right? Most of us go and pay somebody to do our own oil. The idea of outsourcing to experts things that you aren't good at or don't want to do, it's this very sensible, reasonable thing that most people actually can glean from. We hire meal prep. We do Instacart. I don't change my own oil. That's fine, because when you don't have the time, you usually have the money to outsource some of that. So what happens is, this is a very sensible point he makes here, and then he attempts to use a sensible point to then backdoor something as ridiculous as men getting vasectomies in their 20s to become high value, right? And that's the frustrating part. And Andrew Tate does this. A lot of these guys do that. They'll say something that's like, "Oh yeah, no, that sounds good," and then they'll backdoor it with some wild, goofy conclusion.
So when I was listening to this, and I was thinking about this myself, because I was actually at the same time, I'm like, helping a friend move and all this. And I'm thinking about this. I'm going, you know what? If you want to be a high value man, if you want to get to that apex level as fast as you can, that's it. How is that not the best way to go about it? Okay. So
it's ironic he says that while at the same time saying he was helping a friend move. Moving is one of the worst things somebody can do. Why would you not hire movers if you can afford it? So while he's talking about automating parts of his life, he's also helping somebody move, which is absolutely not fun. But never mind.
The point of that whole tweet, which was basically a throwaway tweet that everyone started like snowballing into something else. I've got Ben Shapiro coming at me.
Yep.
I got Matt Walsh coming at me. I got Lauren Chen coming at me. I got all these people off of Daily Wire because it was just easy, low-hanging fruit for these guys, because they think that that's what the fucking manosphere is all about. And it's not, okay? That was not fucking advice. Everything that is on Twitter is not advice.
Now, again, here's the definition of advice. I'll show you guys again. Guidance or recommendation offered with regard to prudent future action. If someone says the quickest way to become a high-value man is to avoid family creation and get a vasectomy and list 6 other things, I'm not sure how you can say that's not advice. You got to find another word for it, right? Because words matter.
Okay.
Was that a joke?
No, it was not necessarily a joke, but it's like, let's just say it's a hypothetical, okay? It's showing you.
It's not advice. It's not a joke. It's a hypothetical.
That's goofy.
Now, listen, shut up for just fucking 5 seconds, okay? This is no fucking joke here because
Had your kids.
I told you guys. I warned you.
Explicit.
I warned you.
Explicit.
I warned you. I warned you. But Rollo getting triggered is hilarious. Okay? Rollo getting triggered is very funny. Watch this.
because everything that's come out of both of you guys' mouth has been nothing but distraction and misdirection because it's easy fucking clicks for you. So here's the whole thing. When I'm talking about get a vasectomy, or don't be concerned with.
When he's mad, his glasses got uneven on his nose. You see?
Okay, I'm really mad about this, bro. Shall we keep going? Are we just gonna have jokes thrown in here?
Really heated about this.
Is that what I get to? Is that what I get to do it? Okay, so here's the deal. When I'm talking about this, when I'm throwing this out there, why wouldn't you do that? Would you not have been more successful, Sneako, had you not had to go through certain things? If you had a kid right now, you would be playing the game with a handicap. You would be playing the game with your fucking hands tied behind your back.
Okay, so
kids are handicaps, or kids with the wrong women are handicaps, bud? Because statistically speaking, men who have families do better than men without families. Men who are married do better than men who aren't married. So how are kids handicapped? I'm not saying that's causation, though in my life it was definitely causation. But I had the right wife, which was amazing. One of the best things I could have done. So according to who? According to what? See, in life, sometimes when you have all the time in the world, you have no external motivation. You have no one depending on you. You have no drive because there's nothing tangible. When you have a human, all of a sudden you start being able to compress your time and do more with less and figure your freaking life out very fast. So the real issue here is that we all know that the red pill in their prescription, and someone as goofy as Myron saying you need to have at least 50 bodies and go experience sexual diversity. The real risk is in having a baby with the wrong person. That's the real risk.
There are guys right now who I have a lot of respect for, and I'm sure you have a lot of respect for as well, who all have kids, but you know what they try to do? Try to keep it under wraps. Okay, try to make sure nobody knows about the fucking kids. Okay.
What is advice?
So okay, first off, this is not fucking advice. Everything that is on my show or is on Twitter is not automatically advice. Now, but here's the thing. You know what you're gonna say, because here's the deal. When I was on whatever podcast I was telling this, I was saying exactly the same thing here, is that everything that comes out of somebody's mouth on Instagram or on Twitter or on a YouTube, there's no way you can't go on there without somebody going, this is what these guys are saying to do. Because if you have this set automatically, that if it comes out of your mouth, it's automatically advice. It can't just be data. It can't just be statistics. Nothing can be just.
But there's no data to back up the point that vasectomies is a path to be a high value man. It's just something you pulled out of thin air and you decided to say it. If we're going to talk about data, then acknowledge that men who are married, according to the data, earn more than men who are not married. Right?
Delivered sort of like, here's some data for you to look at. Okay, nothing can be set, nothing can be given to you without somebody going, well, the reason why you're telling me this is because you're telling me that this is the best way to live my life. Okay, so when I'm watching Brendan Carter and I'm watching all this going on, I'm looking at like guys that I know and guys that you know as well. And when these are the guys who are like saying, you know, be on your game, do this, do that. They're the ones that are giving this advice. All I'm doing is saying, hey, look, maybe you should not focus on family. Maybe you should not get married. I mean, I don't know why that's big.
Maybe advice.
I'm not saying it's advice. What I'm saying is that this is over the fucking top that everybody wants to take it out of context, which is exactly what you guys have been doing.
So what is it? Can you tell me what that tweet was if it wasn't advice?
It's not advice. What it is it's saying that this is the most extreme way to do things. Okay, here's the quickest path to
drop a 1 in the chat if you think that's advice. I'm not sure why are you creating content if you're not attempting to give some sort of insight or advice. Like, again, I'm really like, this is the definition of advice. Here, this is how the word sounds.
Advice.
Okay, that's how the word sounds. You can learn to pronounce it. All right, there's a whole thing to it, right? Advice. Let's say it together. All right, we'll play it together.
Advice.
Okay, so that's the word. That's the definition. If it's not advice, you have to have a definition for what it is, because it's definitely not data. It's not data. The data is the opposite. So what is it?
If I told you this, look, if I said the quickest way for you to make $1 million
That sounds like advice.
is to go steal it from the bank or go to steal it. Does that mean I'm telling you to go steal it?
So the quickest way to make $1 million is for you to go steal it from a bank. In the same way that the quickest way for you to become a high value man is to get a vasectomy. We solved it. There we go. That's the equivalent, basically. Or did Rollo just step into another trap here?
If I tell you to go fucking jump off a cliff, are you going to go jump off a cliff?
Right,
I'm also, by the way, here's the other thing is I'm also responding to Dr. Richard Reeves in this as well.
Okay, there's a lot of context about it, sure. But all the rest of the lists, you're equating vasectomy to lifting, game, play to your strength, resisting up on easing your focus. The rest of it sounds like general advice.
Okay, well let's say so let me ask you. So is it the vasectomy part that's throwing you off?
Really genuine good advice, right? The rest of it
Is it the vasectomy?
So here's the actual tweet. Do not get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy in your 20s. Live consistently. Eliminate all sedatations. Learn game and networking. Play to your strengths. Build wealth. Resist easing up on your focus.
Vasectomy part.
Yeah,
do you agree with pretty much everything else except for the vasectomy part?
the first three is weird because then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family? Why be that rich? The guy who's always grinding. Whoa, Brandon Carter doesn't have to do his laundry. Sick. What else are you going to do with your life?
Right. Maybe
Sneako's waking up.
this is actually meant so that you'll get it. You'll have a freaking epiphany about how all the shit that you have to sacrifice to get to that in the first place. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to live the kind of life, let's say, like a Brandon Carter is, where you're going to outsource your entire life? Or are you going to actually have kids? Is that something that's a priority for you? Because I'll tell you right now that if you follow this kind, if you were to actually follow this list right here, that is the fastest way for you to get to a point where you are more.
In the same way, the fastest way to get $1 million is to go rob a bank. He said it, right?
High value, right? So here's the thing. So when I say that, people go, well, that's not what a high value man is. A high value man is what I define it as, which is he's got to have a good, loving, devoted wife. He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about. All of this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is. So what I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this is the only way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something like that.
We've been talking a lot for 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
That's a great question. That's what it's going to come down to. What is a high value man? What is it? Rollo? I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think a high value man is? What do you guys think it is? I want to hear from you guys. Let's see Rollo's definition. Rollo is the godfather of the red pill. Rollo is, I believe, in his late 50s. Rollo has written 5 books about the rational male. What does Rollo think a high value man is?
Doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
Doesn't matter what you're talking about. That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So like grandpa telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
as good as your fucking tweet.
It doesn't matter what I say is a fucking high value man, because everybody takes this. The point of the fucking tweet is that everybody is going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a fucking high value man is.
What if a high value
That's
man
the
is
bait.
12 kids when you're 16? Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it also high value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
My point is a high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man? Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is these things.
What is that?
Okay? So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go one by one. You want to go one by one? Okay,
no,
so
I would go before 1 by 1. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your
the
definition
point is. The very fact that you're even asking this in the first place is the actual point of the fucking tweet. Okay.
The whole conversation reminds me of Matt Walsh asking people from the fringe left, what is a woman? You can't get to the answer because there is no answer. They don't have an answer for you. What is a high value man? A high value man. It's a circular answer. What is a high value man? Whatever a high value man is for you. Well, no. But what do you think is a high value man? What does it matter what I think a high value man is? No. You made a tweet saying this is the quickest path to being a high value man, yet you can't explain what a high value man is. Well, why do I need to explain what a high value man is? Because that's the whole point of what we're discussing. You saying the quickest path to be a high value man, one of those steps is to get a vasectomy. Well, it doesn't matter what a high value man is. It literally sounds like what is a woman, but instead of answering for what is a woman, it's answering for what is a high value man. This is utter insanity. This is
a sickness of the highest order.
Darkness.
That's what this is. I think Rollo's losing it. I think Rollo's losing his mind. I don't know how anyone can stand by this nonsense anymore. This exchange, from him being triggered to him getting emotional, to him not being able to answer such a simple question of what is a high value man, I think is an indication of exactly where the red pill is. Tell me I'm wrong.
So if you're going to be a high value man with the fucking hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point of the fucking tweet.
The point of the tweet was, you've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it. And now you're getting blown the fuck up on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is fucking retarded. But you're too old and stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation.
I'm not too stubborn to fucking.
Listen, there's a whole lot me and Destiny disagree on, but when it comes to the red pill, there's very little we disagree on.
Walk back from it because the point
and that's very difficult for me to say about a man who has blue hair.
Of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to fucking have this conversation in the first place.
In a debate, the moment someone does an ad hominem attack, they've lost. And though it's funny, douche nozzles, and everybody acknowledges money, herein lies Rollo's L. Rollo is no longer engaging in the conversation because he's attacking them by calling them douche nozzles. A hilarious insult, also a very cringe insult. But he's lost. You're dead in the water. The moment it switches to you're a douche nozzle, you're a group, you're whatever, we're no longer talking ideas. It's a wrap. He lost. It's over.
Bro. Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are fucking idiots. Why do you guys come in here for
You're douche nozzles and you're idiots. Notice who first attacked the other person and called them a name. It was Rollo. Fresh&Fit's laughing about this stuff because they're caping because they know he lost the argument. Or they're so delusional that he lost the argument. And again, kudos to Fresh&Fit that they're still engaging with Destiny and Sneako with people they disagree with. That says something to me because Rollo seldom does this.
From fucking Twitch straight? Like, how you guys are legitimate in all of this? I don't know, because everything I've heard come out of you guys' mouth is just fucking confident ignorance.
I'm asking, no, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the godfather of the red pill. You
call myself the godfather of the manosphere, okay? Other people have called me that.
Okay.
Other people have called me that. How dare you? I've never heard anyone call Rollo that. I don't know who called you that, Rollo. I think you call yourself that.
Great. That's very,
do you understand?
Okay. So as
godfather or grandfather of the man, which one is
whatever it is, the old guy of the manosphere. What is your definition of high value men? This is the #1 talked about topic on all of these shows. So I want to get a clear definition from you. What is it?
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. Depends on the. So here's the thing. Let me tell you, maybe I can explain this to you, Sneako, because at least you got your ears open here. The thing is that when we're talking about what's the top G, what's a high value guy, you probably haven't heard this because you don't read my stuff and you don't watch my shit. But I've also said this is like the red pill has to be for everybody, or it's for nobody. So if
he just starts going back to these profanities about absolutely nothing. The red pill has to be for everybody, or it has to be for nobody. What does that mean, Rollo? What are you saying? Well, you know, a high value man that's the whole point. The whole point of the tweet is because a high value man, that's what we're trying to figure out is the high value.
If we're looking at a guy who's draped across a Lamborghini and he's got hot chicks with him, and we say that's what I'm aspiring to, but I'll never make that because I live in a fucking fishing village on the coast of Chile, right? That means I can never match that high apex of a high value guy.
The guy in the car?
But the guy who happens to live in those villages or happens to be in a different culture or in a different country or whatever else, he can still benefit from that because however he's defining himself as a high value man in his fishing village, maybe that's what he can aspire to.
It has nothing to do with Chile and the village in the car.
Here's the thing: is you guys want me to say, okay, a high value man makes $100,000 a year. He's fucked 50 chicks. He's like, that's the thing.
That's not what I want you to say. I disagree with that. I'm asking you because I come on this all the time.
Disagree with it. What I'm saying is the point of the tweet is so you'll ask that question.
I'm past the tweet. I'm past that. Look, I'm asking as somebody who's really interested in the red pill. I listen to a lot of this content. I want to know what your definition is, because if you have a definition that's completely off of what I think it is, then I guess I'm not red pill.
Well, here's okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I think guys ought to do. Would you like me to give you some prescriptions? Is that what we're trying for here?
No, I want to know your opinion of a high value man. What is it?
I think a high value man is whatever is contextually makes that guy a high value guy in whatever culture that he happens to be in. If that's money, that's money. Right now, that's what we tend to focus on right now. But if I'm going to say that,
high value man is a guy that has the things that makes him a high value man.
All right,
It's a circular reason. A high value man is whatever. What is a woman? A woman is anyone that identifies as a woman. Oh my gosh.
The things that make you a high value man. Okay, what is that? You know, we've been trying to we're never going to define it.
We just kind of because here's the thing. When I read
Myron, stop caping for this dude, bro. It's over. It's over. Guys, it's over. This is Rollo caught in 4D getting emotional, name calling, not being able to define his own terms, moving the goalpost. It's a wrap. You guys need another Godfather. Can we get Kevin Samuels back? This is bad. Someone needs to be crowned as the new king. This can't be your king, Myron. This can't be your king, my guy. Put MTR, someone. This is bad. This is bad for this community, which is good for the rest of us that are sensible and have a brain.
I interpret it right with a higher step. Like he's listing things that if you follow these things, right, and you actually follow them, you're probably not.
At least Kevin Samuels had a definition for a high value man, right?
Become a fuck up, right? And to be a high value guy, I would say it's a combination of things. It's obviously having your money on point, having social proof and status, having respect from your peers, having a network of other high value men, right? Which I agree with Kevin Samuels on that. Being fit to a degree. If you have all these things in place, you'll be considered a high value man by most people in most societies, right?
You notice how Myron, as much as I disagree with Myron on almost everything, notice how Myron was at least genuine in the argument and actually presented a definition.
Have these things in place. Now, with that said, to get there, right, you obviously have to focus and get your shit together and make sure that you focus on getting there. What he's saying is all these, the list of things that he mentioned, if you follow them, it's going to mitigate your risk of becoming a fuck up and not getting to that point as quickly as possible. And I think that's so important is that this tweet kind of gets taken out of context. He's saying,
you know what you could do? You could just keep your penis in your pants until you're ready to settle down. Kind of the way God intended it. You don't got to go rack up your notch count. What are you talking about?
The quickest way to become a high value man, avoid and do these things because you're limiting distractions. And he's using Brendan Carter as an example where
you're limiting distractions, but you're limiting motivators. Humans that depend on you to have your freaking crap together are amazing motivators for most men. This is why most men do better when they get married. They win in money when they get married. More than single guys. Not divorced guys, single guys. Why can't we acknowledge that?
He's in a monogamous relationship with a girl. He outsourced a lot of his things. Why? So he's able to focus on making more money. He's getting rid of obstacles. And I think that's what he demonstrates that. Yes. He's getting rid of obstacles so you can become a high value man in the quickest possible way. Now, I know the most controversial one is the vasectomy. Though there's other ways to get the same, I guess, effect from vasectomy. Let's say you use a condom. Let's say you pull out, whatever it may be. He's saying, okay, if you get the vasectomy, then we know for a fact you're not going to have children. Yeah, it's really no different than having a condom or pulling out or whatever it may be. The point is to not get.
Okay, I'm done. Listen, guys. Myron, if you're watching, you guys need to fix this. You need someone else. Listen, all of us who have a brain are like, great, this was inevitable, wasn't it? Right? Like, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Tate went to jail. This is it. This is who you guys are left with. You guys are left with Rollo Tomassi and Fresh&Fit. And it's a wrap. So you guys need to crown someone else. You need to get on MTR's good side, something. You need someone that's sensible in this regard. Now, with regards to this vasectomy thing, here is the part that's so frustrating, is if you actually do it in God's design for your life, you don't go rack up 50 bodies to feel like a man. You live a life of delayed gratification and restraint. You figure out what your purpose is. You figure out why you were put here on this earth. You go develop the scarce skills. You go develop the discipline to be the type of person that could be functional in a relationship and functional in a marketplace. You do all these things. You don't have to choose. You don't have to choose a family with the wrong person because they think all women are corrupt, or a career. You don't have to choose. I can have my life built where I can live in the city I want to live in, which is in Southern California, one of the most expensive places to live in, by the way, with much better weather than freaking South Florida. I could drive the car I want to drive. I could serve in my local church. I could be married to the woman I want to be married to. I could have a lot of sex with that woman. I could have babies. I could make good money. I could create economic opportunity for other people. There's no false binaries. There's no false binaries. All of these are, it's either this or that. Or you could just do it God's way, and granted, no tragedy strikes or you don't get a curveball. And if you live your life God's way, you'll be in God's will, which is to be monogamous, healthy, happy marriage with a healthy, happy family, earning a great income, walking in your purpose. That's the antidote to all this nonsense as far as I'm concerned. And until the red pill wakes up, we're going to see more L's like this. And eventually, what's going to happen? It will implode. It will implode. Right? It will implode. So this notion that like you could be Brandon Carter and automate your Instacart and your meal prep. I do that, by the way. Or you can start a family and be broke. Nope, I have a family and I'm not broke and I make great money and I have lots of sex with my wife and I have kids that love me and I have people I create economic opportunity for and I love Jesus. Anyway, I gotta go, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. This is such a tired and frustrating conversation. And again, kudos to Fresh and Fit for at least being willing to lean into the tension. Better than Rollo, who's afraid to have a part 2 with me. I've offered to fly him out. I've offered to take care of all of his expenses. I've reached out. He wants no parts of it. Why? Because I think he knows a lot of what he's peddling is nonsense. I think he knows that. At the end of the day, I think he knows that. It's nonsense. I got to go. I love you guys. If you want to partner with us, online community, become a premium partner for $5 a month. Get access to these daily after party streams completely and edited. Get access to our podcasts before they go live, like the ET Hip Hop Preacher pod's already up. You can go check that out. And discount code for the store, all that good stuff, $5 a month. Keep us independent, only working for you, never having to take a brand deal and make goofy commercials like these.
Our friends at Genucel Skincare have exciting news to celebrate in 2023.
Using Manscaped during my showers after workout has given me much more confidence.
And that's where Mudwater comes in.
True Classic has got your back.
All thanks to the sponsor of today's video, SayMine.com.
Established Titles is your opportunity to earn the title of Laird or Lady. Subject to credit approval, rates range from 7.99% APR to 19.99% APR, included 0.50% auto pay discount.
If you don't want us to make ads with brands you don't care about, sign up for our online community for as little as $5 a month to keep us independent and ultimately answering to you as our boss. You get all sorts of benefits like daily replays of our after party streams, exclusive access to our Discord community, and early access to our podcast interviews, all starting for only $5 a month.